Picture this: Europe, 1816. The sky is dark, even in the middle of the day. Crops are failing, temperatures are dropping, and rain won't stop falling. People call it the year without a summer. It feels like the end of the world. The cause was far away, a massive volcanic eruption on the other side of the planet. In April 1815, Mount Tambora in Indonesia exploded in the largest volcanic eruption in recorded history. The blast was so powerful it blew the top off the mountain, sent tsunamis crashing into nearby islands, and killed tens of thousands instantly. But the eruption didn't just devastate Indonesia. It launched so much ash and sulfur into the atmosphere that it dimmed the sun worldwide. The year that followed was one of famine, disease, and despair. Snow fell in June in North America. Crops rotted in the fields in Europe. People starved. Riots broke out, and the price of food skyrocketed. It felt like nature itself had turned against humanity. In the middle of this dark, cold summer, a group of travelers gathered at a villa on Lake Geneva in Switzerland. Among them were the poet Lord Byron, the young writer Percy Bysshe Shelley, his future wife Mary, and their friend John Polidori. Stuck indoors by the constant rain, they challenged each other to write ghost stories to pass the time. What came out of that gathering would change horror fiction forever. Mary Shelley began writing Frankenstein, the story of a scientist who creates life from death. And John Polidori wrote The Vampire, the very first modern vampire story. Before Polidori, vampires were mostly Eastern European folk monsters, not romantic figures. They were thought of as grotesque walking corpses spreading disease and terror. But Polidori's vampire was something new, elegant, intelligent, seductive, a creature that could walk among us. This was the ancestor of Dracula and of every modern vampire in books, movies, and TV. It's no coincidence that these stories of death and horror came out of one of the darkest, coldest summers in history. People were already imagining the end of the world. The sun was gone, the harvests were failing, and death felt close. The mood was perfect for tales of monsters. The connection between disaster and creativity is powerful. When the world feels bleak, stories about darkness help us make sense of it. Polidori's vampire tapped into a fear that was already in the air. Fear of death, disease, and a future that seemed to be slipping away. Mount Tambora's eruption eventually faded from memory, but its cultural impact is still with us every time we watch a vampire movie or read a dark Gothic novel. The monsters born in that gloomy summer have never really died. They keep coming back, generation after generation, reinvented for new fears and new times. So the next time you see a vampire on screen, remember that its roots go back not just to folklore, but to a real volcanic disaster that darkened the world and inspired some of the greatest horror stories ever written. It's a reminder that even out of catastrophe, human creativity can turn fear into something lasting. A story that still has the power to haunt us more than 200 years later.